Play to win or be forgotten. That is not a slogan. It is a law of reality, a brutal truth etched into the fabric of history. The world does not remember those who played it safe. It remembers the conquerors, the risk-takers, the people who left their mark by any means necessary. You either write your name in fire or let it rot in silence. There is no in-between. Now, take a hard look at yourself. Do you wake up to conquer, or do you wake up to comply? Are you building a legacy, or are you surviving another day in mediocrity? Because in this life, playing not to lose is a guaranteed way to lose everything. Comfort zones are the graveyards of ambition. If you do not play with the intent to dominate, then you are already someone else's pawn. This video is not about motivation, it is about war. The war for power, the war for relevance, the war for your future. You are not just up against other people, you are up against your own potential. You are up against time, and both are ruthless. Time will erase you, potential will haunt you. So the question is simple. Will you play to win, or will you vanish quietly, like the billions who came before you? The world is shaped by winners. The names we speak centuries later are not the names of those who played fair or stayed safe. They are the names of tacticians, visionaries, and ruthless architects of destiny. Napoleon, Machiavelli, Sun Tzu. Three men who understood that life is not a game of participation trophies, it is a battlefield. And on this battlefield, survival belongs to the one who plays to win. Let me be clear. This is not about being reckless. This is about being strategic. Playing to win is not about constant aggression. It is about calculated dominance, about understanding the terrain, reading the opponent, and striking with precision. It is about knowing when to advance and when to wait, when to speak and when silence is deadlier than words. Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, "Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win." Let that sink in. Winners prepare. They do not gamble. They build themselves into a force that cannot be denied. They create momentum before stepping onto the battlefield. They visualize victory before they strike. Machiavelli, in The Prince, was not trying to teach cruelty. He was revealing the truth about power. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, because love is optional. Fear is effective. Respect is a product of both. You do not win in life by being agreeable. You win by being necessary, indispensable, respected. Napoleon did not rise by chance. He rose by design. He studied relentlessly. He acted decisively. He understood that fortune favors the bold and crushes the hesitant. "If you want a thing done well, do it yourself," he said, because delegation without dominance is decay. These are not just historical figures. These are playbooks. You want power? You want freedom? You want legacy? Then study those who took all three. Understand how they thought, how they moved, how they manipulated the world to bend in their favor. But here is the twist. This game is still being played right now. In your life, in your career, in your relationships. And if you are not playing to win, you are playing to be forgotten. This series will break down how to embody this mindset. We will extract lessons from these giants and apply them to modern life. Whether you are building a business, reshaping your identity, or just trying to break out of the fog of mediocrity, the strategy is the same. Play to win or disappear. And if what I just said hit you like a punch to the gut, then this is where you need to be. Hit that subscribe button right now. Not for me, for you. Because if this truth resonated with the fire inside you, then you already know the rest of this video is going to light up something much deeper. What's coming next is not inspiration, it is strategy. In part 2, we will begin with the first core principle: how to build strategic momentum the way victorious generals did. This is the foundation, and most people get it completely wrong. Stay locked in. Step 1. Win before the battle. The greatest mistake people make is waiting for the opportunity before preparing for it. They sit idle, they scroll, they dream, but they do not build. They do not sharpen the sword. And when the moment arrives, they are too dull to cut through anything. You want to win? Then start building momentum when no one is watching. While they rest, you rise. While they post, you plan. While they talk, you train. You have to become inevitable. Because momentum is not a product of luck. It is the result of consistent, silent preparation. Sun Tzu didn't preach attack, he preached readiness. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. How do you do that? By becoming so prepared, so disciplined, that your very existence is a threat. Momentum gives you leverage, and leverage breaks resistance. Most people lose because they operate reactively. They wait for signs, green lights, and motivation. But winners, they create their own tide. They build so much inner momentum that the outside world is forced to respond. They don't chase, they attract. They do not need permission to advance. They move because standing still is death. Look at Napoleon. Before he took command, he devoured military texts. He studied history, strategy, geography. When opportunity came, he didn't hesitate, because he had already built his war machine. The battles were won in study halls and lonely nights long before the cannons ever fired. What's your battlefield? Business? Fitness? Leadership? Relationships? The principle remains unchanged. You do not wait to be challenged. You challenge yourself. You create pressure. You set the standard. And the world either rises to it or gets left behind. There is a storm inside every man and woman who decides they've had enough of mediocrity. That storm is your power, but power without direction is destruction. You must aim it, harness it, shape it through discipline. That is the forge of momentum. Think about this. How does fire spread? It needs friction, oxygen, fuel, and then it moves fast. It devours. It becomes unstoppable. That's how your life should look. Every act of discipline adds fuel. Every small win adds oxygen. Every challenge you overcome creates friction. And suddenly, you're on fire. Unstoppable. But here's what most won't tell you: momentum feels invisible at first. It looks like effort without reward, like silence without praise. That's the test, and only the few pass it. Because they understand that true power is invisible until it's undeniable. You don't broadcast the grind. You become the result. Now let's be clear. You are not doing this to impress anyone. You are doing this because your future demands it. You are building momentum because the world respects results, not effort. You can cry about that or you can conquer it. The choice is yours. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." Momentum turns you into both. It gives you the mind of a tactician and the presence of a beast. So how do you start? Start by eliminating distractions. Audit your environment. Cut the noise. If it doesn't fuel you, it's feeding your failure. Most people are too surrounded by weakness to ever build strength. You need silence, space, hunger. Second, set targets that scare you, not goals targets. Goals are soft, targets are lethal. You do not hope to hit them, you must hit. And when you miss, you recalibrate, not retreat. This is how you train your mind to stop negotiating and start executing. Third, stack small wins. Build momentum like a staircase, one brutal, focused step at a time. One more rep, one more book, one more sales call, one more cold approach. Stack them. Every win is a brick in the empire, and brick by brick, you build a fortress no failure can breach. If any of this is breaking through the fog in your mind right now, then stop what you're doing and hit that subscribe button, because we're only just beginning. The next phase? It's about psychological warfare, not with others, but with yourself. And trust me, that battle is where 99% of people lose everything before they even start. This is not hype, this is survival. And if you're still watching, you're already in a different category. You've felt the pull of something greater. Stay locked in. Step 2. Master yourself or be mastered. Every empire that ever crumbled first collapsed from within. Every king, every general, every entrepreneur who lost it all, they lost the battle in their own mind before the outside world ever laid a hand on them. The battlefield within is more ruthless than any enemy. Doubt, fear, hesitation, these are assassins that don't strike with swords. They whisper, they convince, they deceive, and they always aim for the core of your potential. Machiavelli understood this when he wrote, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. Now ask yourself, are your actions driven by fear of failure or by love for domination?" Most people are prisoners of fear. It governs their choices, shapes their limits, and defines their destiny. But here's the raw truth. Your mind is programmable. Not in some cliché, motivational poster way, in the most brutal, mechanical way. Every thought, every reaction, every belief, it's either sharpening you or softening you. Every moment you hesitate, you are teaching your brain that hesitation is acceptable. And every moment you execute despite fear, you are rewriting your identity. That is inner warfare. That is mastery. Sun Tzu said, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. But if you do not know yourself, even a single skirmish will destroy you." Knowing yourself is not about self-love. It is about confronting the darkest parts of who you are. The weakness, the laziness, the envy, the pride. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. Most people flinch when they meet their inner shadow. Winners dissect it. They ask, "What are you hiding from? Why are you afraid to speak, to act, to risk?" And then they do the exact thing their fear tries to stop them from doing. That is how power is built. Let me give you a hard truth. Confidence is not some magical gift. Confidence is the result of keeping promises to yourself. When you say you're going to do something and you do it, your identity upgrades. You stop being a liar to yourself. And when that happens, the entire game changes. You walk differently, speak differently, think differently, because now your mind believes you. That is how inner dominance is forged. Napoleon once said, "The battlefield is a scene of constant chaos. The winner will be the one who controls that chaos, both his own and the enemy's." And what is chaos if not the storm inside your own head? You must control the chaos. You must learn to sit in discomfort, to walk through fear, to command yourself when every part of you wants to quit, delay, or shrink. Because in those moments, every second you endure is a dagger in the heart of your weaker self. Here's how you master your inner warfare. Build a mental fortress. Your mind needs daily conditioning. Read, reflect, write, think like a philosopher, move like a warrior. Don't let your thoughts run wild, dominate them. Journal your strategy. Script your vision. Build a world in your head so strong that reality has no choice but to conform to it. Practice controlled suffering. If you do not voluntarily enter discomfort, discomfort will ambush you unprepared. Cold exposure, brutal workouts, solitude, fasting, risk, these aren't trends. They are tools, weapons, training for the mind. And they remind you daily, you are in control. Speak powerfully. Words create worlds. Stop speaking like a victim. Stop saying, I can't. I hope. I'll try. Speak as if your future is already yours. Speak as if your actions are inevitable. Because when your language shifts, your reality follows. Win early. The first victory of the day must be yours. Wake up with discipline. Move before the world asks you to. The first hour of your day sets the psychological tone. Either you conquer it or it conquers you. There is no neutral morning. There is only dominance or defeat. You think this is extreme? Good. Extremes are the only things that shape reality. No one ever remembered the man who was balanced into greatness. It takes obsession. It takes precision. It takes war. War with your doubt. War with your delay. War with the version of you that wants to coast. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome and philosopher of steel, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The world does not care about your potential. It only responds to results. And results come from mastery, not just of strategy, but of self. If this section ignited something deep inside of you, if it forced you to confront parts of yourself you've been avoiding, then this is your moment. Hit that subscribe button right now. Because in the next part, we're going to step into the dark art of influence and manipulation, not in theory, but how the greats like Machiavelli used it to shape kingdoms. And trust me, what's coming next will shift the way you see every interaction in your life. Stay sharp. Step 3. Influence or be influenced. This world is not neutral. Every conversation, every post, every glance, it is a battle for control. You are either shaping reality or being shaped by it. There is no Switzerland in the war of influence. If you are not imposing your will, someone else is imposing theirs. Niccolò Machiavelli did not invent manipulation. He simply ripped the mask off it. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. That sentence alone is a weapon. It reminds you that perception is the battlefield, and the one who controls perception controls everything. Most people walk through life trying to be liked. That is a losing strategy. Because when your goal is to be liked, you are easily manipulated. You compromise. You dilute. You bend. And eventually, you break. Influence begins the moment you stop needing validation, because the person who needs nothing cannot be controlled. Understand this. Machiavelli never said to be evil. He said to be strategic. He understood that morality, like currency, only has power if it can be spent wisely. A prince never lacks legitimate reasons to break his promise. That's not a call to dishonesty. That's a warning. The world will reward your results, not your righteousness. So how do you become influential? How do you shift from being invisible to becoming unavoidable? Master the art of silence. Words are powerful, but silence is terrifying. The man who speaks less reveals less. He forces others to fill in the blanks, and in that space, power is born. Speak with intention. Let silence do the rest. Study people, not through surface impressions, but through patterns. Watch how they react, how they justify, what they fear. Influence comes not from talking louder, but from knowing more. The better you read a man, the easier it is to lead or defeat him. Position yourself as scarce. People do not value what is always available. You want influence? Withdraw from the noise. Limit access. Let your presence be rare and deliberate. That is how leaders operate. That is how power scales. Become unpredictable. Predictability is vulnerability. If they always know your next move, they can always block it. Machiavelli wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But unpredictability? That's how you become feared and respected. No one can attack what they cannot predict. Let me break it down. Further, influence is not about shouting louder. It is about controlling the frame. The frame is the mental lens through which people view the situation. If you control the frame, you control the terms. You define the conversation. You dictate the value. Napoleon understood this perfectly. He didn't just fight wars, he controlled narratives. He crowned himself emperor, not as a gesture, as a statement. He understood optics. He knew that perception often outweighs truth, and he weaponized it. That's what influences the ability to bend minds, shape emotions, and drive decisions without force, without argument, without resistance. But here's the dark truth. Influence requires detachment. You cannot influence what you are emotionally entangled with. You must rise above. You must be able to walk away. Power flows to those who do not need it. Influence flows to those who do not chase it. This is not manipulation for harm. This is influence for survival. Because whether you choose to learn this or not, the people above you already have. They understand leverage, they understand optics, they understand power, and they use it every day while the masses debate morality and drown in emotion. So, what do? You train, you read the texts, you observe reality, not theory. You detach from the need to please, and you begin to move like someone who knows exactly where they're going and what they're willing to do to get there. Voltaire once said, "It is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong." That quote is not just about politics, it is about all systems of power. If you know the truth but lack the influence to move others toward it, you are powerless. That's why influence matters. It turns vision into action, belief into impact. And if you're still watching this, you're already ahead of the pack. Because most people tune out the moment the conversation gets uncomfortable. But you leaned in, and that makes you dangerous. The right kind of dangerous. Now here's your move. If this section shook your understanding of power and made you realize just how easily most people are being played, then you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, because the final part is where it all ties together. The execution phase. We're going into the principles of finality, decisiveness, and how to finish what you start the Napoleon way. You've built momentum, you've mastered yourself, you've understood influence. Now it's time to conquer. Stay with me. Step 4. Execute or be erased. All the strategy in the world means nothing if you do not pull the trigger. All the preparation, all the knowledge, all the momentum, it is worthless if it never leaves the chamber. Ideas do not change lives. Execution does. Napoleon understood this at his core. He moved fast. He struck hard. He didn't wait for perfect conditions, he created them. Take time to deliberate, but when the time for action has arrived, stop thinking and go in. That is the mindset of a commander, of a man who knew that delay is death, that hesitation is betrayal. Let this hit you. The graveyard is full of people with brilliant ideas, with plans, with dreams. The difference between a footnote in history and a name carved in stone, is execution. Ruthless, committed, fearless execution. You want legacy? You want to be remembered? Then you must act in a way that cannot be ignored. You must make moves that shake your environment. You must strike so decisively that your enemies don't even consider a counterattack, they just submit. The world bows to momentum, mastery, and influence, but it obeys execution. Now here's the real test. Execution is not about doing the easy things. It is about doing the ugly, the repetitive, the boring, and the brutal tasks over and over until excellence becomes a reflex. Look around. Look at those who are ahead of you. They're not smarter. They're not better. They just finish. They start fast. They finish hard. They don't let doubt vote. They don't consult fear. They move. They strike. They build. And because of that, they rise. You don't get respect for potential. You get respect for results. You don't earn legacy by wanting it. You earn it by carving it into the timeline with blood, sweat, and precision. Every day you execute with purpose is another line written into your legend. Marcus Aurelius, again the philosopher emperor, the man who led Rome with steel and silence, said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That is the essence of execution. You stop theorizing. You stop waiting. You become. And let me speak directly to your resistance. Yes, it's hard. Yes, you will doubt yourself. Yes, you will want to quit. That's the test. That's the filter. The universe does not reward intentions. It rewards those who act despite resistance. That's the separation. That's the line between common and king. Now let's get surgical. How do you become a finisher? End. Perfection. Perfection is the enemy of completion. It is the excuse disguised as excellence. You are not here to be flawless. You are here to be finished. Iterate later. Ship now. Get your product, your message, your offer out. Done is the doorway to domination. Attack the hard task first. Every day has a monster. Slay it early. Don't check your phone. Don't wander. Don't wait. Find the task that you fear and conquer it before breakfast. That single act builds dominance like nothing else. Define non-negotiables. Daily execution needs anchors. Pick 3 things that get done no matter what. These are sacred. They are your warpath. You do them whether you're inspired or sick or broken. Because legacy doesn't care how you feel. It only remembers what you did. Track your war. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Journal your actions. Review your decisions. Audit your performance, like a general reviews a battlefield. This is how you evolve from executor to strategist, from soldier to emperor. Execution is the final filter. It is the final blade. It is the line between people who talk about greatness and those who become it. Do not make the mistake of waiting for confidence before acting. Confidence comes from acting. You execute, you fail, you learn, you adapt, and then you become a force. That's how it works. That's how it has always worked. Sun Tzu, again. In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. Chaos is your crucible. It's your testing ground. And the one who executes in chaos becomes king when calm returns. So here we are. You've seen the principles. You've studied the momentum of Sun Tzu, the mind control of Machiavelli, the execution of Napoleon. These are not just lessons. They are marching orders. Play to win, or be forgotten. Burn this into your soul. There will come a day when your body fails, when your voice fades, when your presence is dust, and the only thing that will remain is what you built, what you conquered, what you executed into this world. Will your name echo, or will it vanish? That answer is not in the stars. It's not in fate. It's in you and the next move you make. If this entire series gripped you, if it dragged something ancient and powerful out of you, then now is the time. Hit that subscribe button and join the ranks of those who refuse to vanish. The next video is going to push this even further into empire building, legacy, and strategic domination. You're not done yet, you're just getting started.